Hello and welcome to another video with Gardening for Beginners. Today we're going to talk about seed flats, also called seed starts. Some folks call them seed trays, which is totally fine, but I usually avoid calling them that because I refer to these as seed trays. I do it to limit confusion on what I'm talking about, but none of those terms are wrong. So basically, this seed tray would hold the seed flats. So I know in the past I've avoided seed flats just because I don't like transplanting more than once. But now that it's starting to warm up outside, and in a week or so I'm going to be transplanting my seedlings that I started in styrofoam cups. I'll probably only be transplanting these one time as well. The way that would work, I would just put my seed in. They would start to sprout and grow. Once they've got 1 or 2, 3 sets of true leaves, then I would transplant them directly outside instead of putting them in a styrofoam cup under my grow lights. But I do have to hand it to these things. They are really nice space savers. Styrofoam cups take up a lot of space, but now that my styrofoam cups are outside in the greenhouse, indoors I've got nothing but space. I'm going to talk with you and show you how to pack the seed starter soil into the seed flats. I'm also going to give you a nice little trick on how to ensure that your seed depth is good in the actual flats. And last but not least, I'm going to also give you some tips on how to get the fastest germination speed and rate possible. So what do you say? Let's get to sowing. So before we get to packing the pre-moistened soil in here, one of the other reasons that I really didn't like using seed flats is that you would need to put you want to label your seedlings so that you can keep track of them, and a lot of people use these, and well, with my grow lights it just doesn't work very well. This is going to interfere with the height of my light fixtures. That was one of the reasons why I didn't want to use this, but I came up with a very simple and elegant solution to that. And you would just get like a Sharpie, for example, and you would just write the name of whatever seedling is in here on the side so that you can keep track of them. And you're going to reuse these maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 times, and you just cross that line out, keep going down, maybe move over to the next one. That will allow me to not only keep track of the seedlings, but it will also allow me to put the light fixture a little bit closer to the seedlings. Packing the soil correctly is one of the most important things that you can do for your seeds. If you just sift some soil in, it's not going to be firm enough and could collapse when you water it, which could cause the seed to change depth or direction and not be in an optimal spot to germinate. So drop some of that pre-moistened soil in here. And if you'd like to learn how to pre-moisten the soil, check out my video on it. I'll provide a link in the description. There we go. So right there, you've got the soil filled up, but you're going to want to tamp it down with your thumb. You don't have to go crazy on it. Just give your seeds a firm base to work with. There you go. You see that right there? Now, all you have to do, add some more soil in here. Lightly tamp that down. Again, just making sure it's a firm growing medium for your seeds. A little bit more in there. And there you go. You're all set. One optional thing that you can do that I've been playing around with is sprinkling a little vermiculite on the surface and lightly mixing it in. Vermiculite is basically, I won't get too fancy schmancy scientific with you, but it basically helps hold moisture in. One of the things that I've noticed with my seedlings is that under lights they can kind of dry out really quickly. So I just want to, you know, see what this does. But after that, let's see here. Like I said, you know, this step is going to be optional. There's no reason to go out and buy vermiculite specifically for this process. Every now and then I like to experiment and test stuff. I happen to have some vermiculite laying around, so I'm going to tinker a little bit. Now you want to get your seeds, a ruler of some sort, a toothpick, and a pen. So what you would do is run your toothpick parallel to, you know, whatever measuring device that you have, and using a pen, mark off whichever depth the seed packet recommends. For me, I'm planting some peppers, and these are going to be 1/4 inch, but definitely keep an eye on that, because some packets recommend 1/8 of an inch, a 1/2 inch, an inch. Just make sure that you're marking the right depth, because that's going to impact how well or how poorly this trick works. So make sure that, yeah, you use a ballpoint pen and not the ink from a felt pen or a Sharpie, because that can definitely cause the ink to run, and it's just going to mess it up, and you're not going to get an accurate measurement. But I measure 1/4 inch right here. And then I like to roll it over to the other side and measure 1/4 inch as well. And there you have it. Now what you would do is you would push your toothpick down, using this as a marker. I hope you can see that. Using this as a marker, you would push your toothpick down to the depth that you want, and then move it around in a circle to create your seed hole. There we go, right there. See how easy that is? Takes all the guesswork out of it, and you've got the right depth to plant your seeds. On this side, I'm doing some Sugar Rush peaches. I only have 3 seeds left, so I only made 3 holes. But one thing that you can do is, if you have, for example, 6 seeds, you can do 2 holes for each one if you like so. You would just do 1 hole right here, and then 1 hole right here, and you would follow that process, and that gives them enough room, but it doesn't push them right up against the edges. I actually have 5 of these other seeds, so yeah, I did it right. Perfect. So I've got 2, 2, and 1 right here. But now all you have to do, oh, look at that, I've got 4. One was hiding from me. So you just drop your seed in, and then cover it with soil. And you don't really want to push that hard, but I like to go in here with the toothpick very lightly and just make sure that it's all the way at the bottom, because sometimes these seeds will get caught on the sides of the soil and not go all the way down. So there we go. And that's what that looks like right there. You see how easy that is? You just push down lightly. I'm going to drop these other seeds in just a little bit closer so that you can see it. See how they're just falling right down into the holes there? And I'm just making sure with the toothpick that they're at the right depth. Doesn't matter, you don't have to necessarily focus too much on which side is pointing up. I like to put them in there sideways, and they seem to do just fine. Nature figures out which direction is up and which direction is down. Okay, now that you've gotten all your seeds in the seed starting soil, the seed starting mix, what you can do, what a lot of folks do, is then they just drop these right in a seed tray, and they have them all lined up in here. And you want to make sure that they get some type of moisture. A lot of folks water from the bottom, so they'll, once this is filled up, and they'll have maybe one little gap right here, they'll fill in a bunch of water, and then once all of these turn dark, all of the little seed flats, the soil turns dark, then what they'll do is they'll carefully pour the water out so that they don't get, so they don't drown. Another option that you can do is, if you have more limited number of seeds that you're starting, you can always just turn this almost vertical and just use a spray bottle. Just hit it really good, make sure that it gets really moist, because you want the soil to be fairly well saturated once your seeds are in there. And then after that, what I like to do is I like to get some type of plastic bag. Like, let's say that, I just had this out and I used a spray bottle. Then what I would do, I've got my seed tray, and I would just put some sort of plastic bag over it, and that really helps hold in the moisture. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to check this twice a day, because once they start sprouting up, they start sprouting up fast, and the last thing you want to do is for this bag to push them down or hold them down or get them to bend, because then all your hard work is all for naught. But then you would set this in the right growing conditions for your seed. Most of your spring seeds are going to want a soil temperature of around 70 to 90 degrees, and for a lot of spring veggies it's going to be somewhere in the middle. You can use a heat mat or place them near the warm part of an appliance like a refrigerator, or you don't do any of that at all if your indoor temperature is around those temps. My grow room is pretty much a constant 80 degrees Fahrenheit, so what I usually do is just, place this plastic bag over it like the one that you see here. This helps, so you don't have to water as much. Just keep in mind, without a heat mat, it may take them a bit longer to germinate compared to using one. Just use your best judgment and go from there. So using the magic of television, I'll be able to show you some next steps. As you can see right here, you've got some seedlings that have started to sprout up over here. And even on this side, we've got a little guy right there poking his head out. But once you start seeing seedlings come up, you're definitely going to want to put them under lights immediately. And I want to stress, you want to put them under grow lights. Don't worry if they all haven't come up yet. Some will later, and some won't come up at all. That's just the reality, of gardening. But if you do want to learn more about this grow light setup that I have with these 4-foot long shop lights and fluorescent lights, I'll provide a link in the description as well on that. But I do want to stress, I would say 95% of the folks in our group that put their seedlings in a window, it doesn't work out for them. The reason it doesn't work out is there's not enough light. They get leggy, they get spindly, they get weak, and they just, from the get-go, they're not set up for success. So definitely consider, at least some lighting option. It doesn't have to exactly be this one, because there are a lot of options out there, but this is definitely one of my personal favorites. And all you have to do, I've got them all set up, and then you slide them right under the light, like so. So tell me what you think in the comments. Do you start your seeds and seed flats differently? Or do you have questions about what you just watched? If so, ask away. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and happy gardening.